in this file, replace any usage of promise then and catch with more basic callbacks and XML requests, aka Ajax. The weak lecture slides will be helpful. The aim of this is to understand some of the fundamental mechanisms. Okay, we can do that. Let me just get up this store.html and move some things aside. So the first thing I want to do is just separate all this stuff away into a file. So I'm going to just go store.js and do that because that's so much easier. And then I don't have to keep, referring back to it. Cool. Let me close that and let me just copy and paste all this stuff, put in here. Okay, just a bit of background. The fetch API is what you're using in assignment 2. It's very good. The whole goal and motivation of this exercise is to show you another way of doing it. I would not recommend it, but it's just one of those, maybe you join the workforce and you have to work on a monolithic web app that uses XML or Ajax and all that. So that's why we're going to go through this. A lot of this has functions that are kind of out of order. So let me just move them around. I don't want that and I don't mind that. Cool. Let me just open it just for clarity's sake. And that shouldn't have done anything. Oh wait, it's still old school. That also shouldn't have done anything, but it did. Oh, because it's the fetch. Okay. First things first, I want to try to break it down. So I'm replacing this. I'm very happy with all these functions. I just want to replace this fetch with the modern way of doing it. So I'm just going to go const get data equal to an arrow function. And I'll call that get data. Don't know why it said geolocation when it's get data. Why is it doing that? Data. Thank you. Okay, the very first thing we do is we make this XHR object as an XML HTTP request. Now, this object is just empty. There's just, even if I hover, it's an object that to interact with servers, you can retrieve data from a URL without having to do a full page refresh. Cool. One of the very first things you do is open. And what we need in open is a string or method and a URL. So I think we know our methods, but in this one, it's just doing a very general get. So I'm just going to do a get. And I just need the URL, which is this very long thing because the original link didn't work. Cool. So very similar to fetch, but we're just doing it this way. And to be honest, we don't need that. We can just look here. Okay. Why are we using fetch? Why are we using XHR on this XML HTTP request? It's an API. It's built in, just like the document kind of API. It handles asynchronous requests. You can make it not asynchronous, but it is asynchronous. One of the key benefits is it allows you to do a lot of customization, and I'll explain a little bit of what I kind of mean by that. So let me just start going through it where I just send the dot. And the first thing that a lot of people do is this onload, but it's kind of crazy. You can do this kind of onload start. You can do this onload end. Then you can just do this onload. What else can you do? You can do this on error. And last one's an actual yep, I want to send the request. Okay, let me try to help you guys understand what these are doing. I'm just going to console log I'm loading. And then I will do the others. Blah, blah. I finished loading. Here's my data. And I have an error. Okay. Cool. I will do that. Okay. I'm just going to have a look at it in using the console. Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting. Because I haven't commented out this fetch, it's just doing everything, which I don't want. So if I refresh it, it's gone. When I look in the console, it's doing this in order. It's loading just the console log. Here's my data and finish loading. I don't know why here's my data's there, but so be it. So what we can kind of do is we can set up, we can customize it where we can, while doing the request, we can show something loading. So usually in like your assignment or actual web apps, you make a loading button or something, a spinner. When it's finished loading, you want to get rid of it. When it's finished absolutely loading, like actual finish, you want to actually do something with the data. And if there's an error, maybe you have some sort of pop-up or alert. Cool. I don't think there'll be any questions about that. I want to just make it very general and simple, where I'm just going to start doing like what I think I would like here. So I could be like handle load, and I could be like, it takes in, I won't take in anything. Cool. I would then go, because I have this container, I can be like container.inner text is equal to loading 1, 2, 3, and that arrow function is rubbish. Cool. What if I do that and get rid of that? It's loading. Okay. That's kind of proof that, yeah, that will trigger when it's trying to, you know, start just loading the request. But I want to get rid of it. So I only want it to display while it's getting something. So you imagine this URL, I know it's very fast. I can slow it down, but I want to get rid of it. So const finish load, loading, container.inner text is just nothing now. So when it finishes loading, I want that message to go away. Does it go away? Perfect, it goes away. Cool. When it actually loads, I want it to actually give me the object. So I want to, maybe I'll just leave that. Handle data takes an XHR object. So in this one, I want to actually just do this instead. I think I do want to keep it as a anonymous. Yeah. And why is that? If I just console log this XHR, we can have a little gander. So it comes up with a request and it has a response. So let me just have a look at this response, just like in fetch, very similar. And there's what we want, but that's a string. But that's fine. I'll go const data is equal to JSON.parse XHR.response. And now that's an object. Then I can render the items like it originally was doing. And let's have a gander at what that does. It didn't do anything. Why didn't it do anything? Render items that console.log of the data. The data looks fine to me. And I render the items by giving it the response. That's very strange. Handle load, display data, the data. Hello? No, it does go there. Okay, it creates an element. Oh, I think it's because no, my container is fine. I make a container, I do that. That's fine. My inner text is fine. I append it. I make a box. I have a class. I have an inner text. I append it, and I return it. I'll console.log out this name box. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm blanking out. Okay, it makes a box. I don't know why it just doesn't append it. So create element, name box, render items, container.append child. I mean, clearly it's there. Body. Let's just do that. Okay, that's doing something. I'm okay with just it doing that. I don't know why. I mean, do either of you know or can tell me, oh, wait, there's several people now. Welcome to the other people. I don't think the purpose of this is really just understanding this create ID, create element document.get ID. It's basically this XHR, XML, HTTP request. One thing to kind of think about too is that this XHR.send, you actually have to wrap it in a try and catch. And that's just the way they kind of want you to do it. I would also just wrap this anyway, because this is always going to succeed, I believe, because it's just an empty object. I don't really want to. So catch an error, and I'll just move all this garbage up here. And just for now, console.log, I have an error. Or does it still work? It still works. I don't know why it gives me issues when it's container. I don't actually understand why I can't just go container and append it. And my elements, it doesn't append at all. It creates a div. It does that. It does that. Then it does that, but it's just not happy. If I comment that out, what happens? It does work. Okay, because I made it in a text, it's not happy. Maybe I do const message is document dot create element p message dot inner text is loading 1 2 3. And then I go container dot append child message. Will loading come up? Oh, document dot body. Oh wait, because I commented it out. I do that. I do that. Okay, there's loading. Strange that everything stopped working again. Oh, because of that. And I'll give it an ID. Message.id is equal to loading. Okay, and when I want to get rid of it, I go document dot remove child document dot get element by ID loading. Let's try that. It didn't get rid of it. Document dot body dot remove child, that it got rid of it. Wonderful. I fixed my OCD around that issue. Yeah, there's not much to this exercise. It's basically just, can you understand XHR? I guess another thing we could do is this. I'm just appending this because document.append child is nothing. Document.body is the actual body, the body. That's why I was missing that. Another thing that's important is just thinking about the status code. Since it's a GET request, 200 is what we want, then we should be actually, showing something. If not, it's another error thing that you might possibly want to render. I know the solution talks about actually rendering the error. I think that's a nice thing where if you don't know, so you see this loading, how it's coming up too fast, it's kind of just, it's unfair. It's not really showing that I've done it well. If you go to the network tab and you go to throttling, you can make it like slow 3G. And if I refresh, it kind of demonstrates, oh, yeah, that loading actually does happen. Because what's happening is when we're no throttling, it's just throttling. It's just too fast. You can barely see it. So that's a little kind of tip or trick for you all. Cool. Did anyone have any questions about this one? I think it's I see it also did a bunch more stuff like set the local storage, but I don't think that's the most important because I can just go and just chuck it in there. No questions? It's kind of hard to like find the motivation behind this. If you ever stuck on this, are there any times when you would use XHR over fetch? Or for me personally, I would never do it. When I talk about it's more the ability to do customization. And when I say customization, when you do fetch, it might not be that intuitive. So you can, but it might not be that intuitive that you can go, oh, I want to have like a loading animation, and then I want to get rid of it when it's done. And then I want to have maybe an alert or something when something goes wrong. There's the customization there, but really the main times you'll use it is when you're working on some app that already has it and your boss is like, nah, I'm allergic to fetch. Don't ever use that. Don't ever tell me about that. Don't ever use Axios or some other garbage like that. This is more just to expand your horizons where, oh no, maybe you do need it. But for this course, honestly, assignment 2, 3, and the exam, no. It doesn't hurt to learn more and just understand it more. I think you need extra, if you want to show progress bar when uploading files specifically, that's when probably a normal loading spin along with fetch isn't enough. Oh, it does. See, I would always assume that fetch can do that. I can't prove it to you, but I do believe fetch can just do everything that this can do. But in saying that, this is easier if you wanted to do anything with the loading percentage. Because I mean, I don't think I can get the info anywhere about it. Let's just Google that, loading percent. How do I get progress from that? From the bytes uploaded from XHR to upload to on progress event. Browsing this as a file. Oh, okay. So yeah, images from the bytes download. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, HD Jimmy strikes again. Yeah, 100%. It's only because I spent a crazy amount of time just trying to do that, and then I'm like, I'm giving up on this. Yep, fair enough. Don't just say that, Mitchell. You're my whole HD class. Everyone that comes to this class is my HD class. Okay. I don't think there's much to this, so I'll move on. Pretty much, I'm only going to really go through 2 topics because Kai didn't go through the 2 hard topics, but